You can like the property and still not be ready to buy it. That is the part many Americans miss. The property may look good. The price may feel reasonable. The location may seem right. But before you buy, those are not the only things that matter. Before you choose, sign, send money, or commit, there are 7 checks that should happen first. Because the real question is not only, do I like this property? The stronger question is this purchase actually ready? If you're an American thinking about buying property in Mexico, this checklist is not here to slow you down. It is here to stop you from moving forward with a decision that is not ready yet. You can change paint. You can replace furniture. You can remodel a kitchen. But it is much harder to fix the wrong budget, the wrong location, the wrong ownership setup, unclear documents, weak management, or no exit plan. So before the property feels like a yes, check whether the purchase is strong enough to become one. Check number 1 is real budget fit. Most buyers start with the price. That is normal, but it is incomplete. The purchase price is not the full ownership budget. A stronger buyer separates the numbers into 3 parts. Costs before closing, costs at closing, and costs every year after ownership begins. That can include closing costs, bank trust costs if they apply, HOA fees, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, repairs, furnishing, management and reserve money. Here is the problem. A property can pass the price test and still fail the ownership test. So do not only ask, can I afford to buy it? Ask, can I own it comfortably after closing? And if you want the full breakdown of those numbers, I have a separate video on the real cost to buy property in Mexico in 2026. But for this checklist, the key point is simple. Do not judge the property by the purchase price alone. Before the property can fit the purchase, the use plan has to be clear. Check number 2 is use case fit. Many buyers get this backward. They find a property first, then try to force their real life around it. But the stronger process starts with the plan. Will this be full-time living, seasonal use, part-time ownership, rental use, future retirement, or a long-term hold? Because each use case changes the decision. A property that works for full-time living may fail for seasonal ownership. A property that works for personal use may fail as a rental. And if the use case is not clear yet, the purchase is not ready yet. Check number 3 is location fit. The weak question is, what is the best place to buy in Mexico? That sounds useful, but it is too broad. The stronger question is, which location fits the way I will actually own the property? Because location is not just the view, the beach, or the name people recognize. For an American buyer, location can affect access, services, property management, and resale. A beautiful location can still be the wrong ownership location, especially if you will not be there full-time. So before choosing the place, test it against the ownership plan behind it. Does this location fit how often you will be there, who will manage it, and how you would sell it later? Check number 4 is ownership structure. In Mexico, the buyer is not only checking the property, the buyer also needs to understand how ownership will be held. Depending on the location and the situation, that may involve direct title, a bank trust, often called a fideicomiso, or another structure. That does not automatically make the purchase good or bad, but it does mean the buyer should not guess. Before signing or sending money, the buyer should know what ownership structure will be used, what document proves it, what costs continue after closing, and who is responsible for setting it up correctly. This is where buyers can confuse a broad answer with a specific purchase answer. Can Americans buy property in Mexico? Is one question. Is this purchase properly structured? Is a different question. Check number 5 is documents before signing. This is where many buyers get too comfortable because signing can make a weak process feel official. And official looking is not the same as ready. Many buyers think that once there is a contract, the purchase is ready, but the contract is not enough by itself. Before signing, the buyer should understand what the contract is supposed to match. The seller authority, the title-related documents, the payment instructions, the property details, the closing process, and the timeline. A document can look clean and still leave the wrong questions unanswered. Who has authority to sell? What exactly is being sold? When does money move? What happens before closing? And what happens if something does not match? This is not about becoming a lawyer. It is about not signing before the buying picture is clear. Up to this point, most of the checks happen before closing, but ownership does not end there. The next two checks matter because buying the property also means taking on what comes after it, and for many American buyers, that is where the ownership test becomes real. Check number 6 is the management plan. For a part-time or seasonal owner, the wrong test is whether the property feels manageable during a visit. The stronger test is what happens when the owner is away. Who checks the property? Who coordinates repairs? Who handles access? Who responds when something changes between visits? The weak assumption is, I'll figure that out after closing. But if the owner away plan is not clear yet, the ownership plan is not clear yet. So before you commit, ask, who handles this property when I am not there? Check number 7 is the exit path. Most buyers focus on getting into the property, the offer, the signing, the closing. But a stronger buyer also asks, what happens if the plan changes later? That does not mean planning to sell right away. It means checking whether there is a realistic path out. Could the property be resold clearly? Is transfer clear? Would it make sense to a realistic future buyer? If the property is hard to resell, hard to explain, or hard to transfer, the buying decision changes. So the stronger question is, could I sell this property later if my plan changes? And that is the larger point of all 7 checks. Liking the property is not the same as being ready to buy it. Before you commit, ask one stronger question. Does this purchase fit how I would actually own it? If that answer is still unclear, you are not ready to commit yet. And one major part of that ownership fit is knowing the full cost beyond the purchase price. For the full breakdown, watch this video next.